We are in the process of a series called Let's Be Remarkable in 2023. We just finished up our leadership chat, and we're talking about exactly what we're going to talk about now is just continuing this conversation about what does it take to be remarkable in 2023. And, you know, the first thing I want to just say is we got to be intentional. And kind of back to, I think the net of our leadership call is we got to put our focus on the activity and our systems and our rhythms, and not so much on the response that we're getting from people. And I had someone reach out to me literally today. I've been reaching out to her, nothing. And then she sends me a message and says, hey, I want to sell Juice Plus. Tell me what to do. I'm like, I have been reaching out to you for months now with nothing, no response, dead air. But what would happen if I would have stopped that activity? That probably would have gone cold. And so if we learn anything, and I think what I took away from that leadership challenge or huddle we just had is we cannot focus on the outcome. We focus on the activity. And so let's jump right in, and then I'm going to kind of walk through this quickly, and then we will take some time just to process with each other at the end. So let's look at, let me go back here to the beginning where we started. We'll kind of review from last week. We're in the process of getting ready for 2023. Let's be remarkable in 2023. We're going to take 4 weeks off. And during that time, let's really shore up what we talked about last week was, let me do this quote again. Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, says the only way to get bigger is to get better. The only way to get bigger is to get better. So let's do our best of getting better on all ends and really growing in 2023. So last week we talked about three areas. If we want to be remarkable in that daily accountability, weekly check-ins, and monthly reviews. And last week we talked about rhythms. What's your rhythm for this business? You know, do you do it on, okay, I work, and so here are my time blocks that I'm going to work this business. But if we get away from that daily accountability and working those time blocks, we're going to get out of rhythm. Or maybe you're like, I'm going to talk to, 5 partners a week, 5 prospects a week, and 5 customers a week. Whatever your rhythm is, just make sure you've got it written down and you know your rhythm, either if you're working it from a time standpoint or a connection standpoint, or maybe a little bit of both. You may say, hey, I'm going to work these days and I'm going to make sure I connect with X amount of people. Whatever your rhythm is, just get into that rhythm and stay in that rhythm. We all get knocked out of our rhythms from time to time. Action gets us back into rhythm. How about your systems? Are you using Teamsy or maybe Excel, or just pen to the paper and keep it all in a notebook? Doesn't matter what you use. Systems are a dime a dozen. We just better have one to be successful. And then lastly, in this daily accountability is how are we tracking our success? And Cynthia brought up a great point of being discouraged if we're tracking, our success based on how the response from people are. We can easily get discouraged and lose focus. But if we're tracking our activity instead, we can celebrate every single day. Hey, and I do that through Teamsy. They got a way to say, if I connect with 2 prospects a day, 4 customers a day, and 5 partners a day, that's 100% for me. It's all plugged into the system, the Teamsy system. I know I've done well, regardless of what those responses back to me were. I made 100%. So I think having some system and then tracking how you've done is going to keep you in that rhythm of that daily accountability. This week, we're going to hone in on, so hopefully put in the chat if you're like, hey, I need help with my rhythm, I need help, or I need help with my systems, or I need help with figuring out how to track my activities. So we can kind of come the first of the year, hone in on whatever area most people are like, here's the area that I struggle with, whatever it is. So that we, on our calls, we will meet what the majority of the people need. We'll focus in on that. Okay, so today we're going to talk about our weekly check-ins. Are we once a week making a game plan? You know, plan. If we fail to plan, we're basically going to fail. So we have to have a plan. Are you sectioning out some time over the weekend where you truly plan out your week? And then the second thing on this weekly check-ins, be on these calls. Kudos to everybody who's on here. And if you can't be on here, listen to the team calls. That just brings that connection. Or be on Voxer and check your Voxer. You know, try to do it once a day just to stay plugged in and keep that check-in. You know, it keeps you in the know, and it also keeps you focused on this business. You know, today it is so easy. We can so easily be distracted. 20 minutes, we can be distracted. I want a dog so bad. My dog died a year ago. I've got all these reels with dogs on it. If I happen to see one come up, it will take me down a path of 20 minutes watching dogs. I mean, so we've got to have some way, you know, to keep us pull back in, focused on our Juice Plus business. I think being on these training calls and being on Voxer, that's the value of those weekly connections and check-ins. How am I doing? And then also, I'm going to challenge everybody on here once a week. Make it a point to really connect with your upline. And if you're upline, make it a point to connect with your downline. Linda was saying earlier, you know, that she's had to be out of pocket. And that's the beautiful thing about our business. When we have to, when things happen, it gives us the freedom and our paychecks still come in. But she made the comment of just getting back into connecting with her partners. And on a weekly basis, we want to do that. Have a list. I have a list of literally of all the partners who I want to connect with every single week. Do you have that list? Are you tracking it? Are you tracking the conversations and what they need and congratulating them when you get that PVC report? And then lastly, our monthly reviews. You know, we have a planning form. How many of you guys actually have a printed planning form of your next position? You're going from sales coordinator to qualifying senior sales coordinator. Are you looking at that on a monthly basis, saying, all right, last month, here's where I was. This month, here's where I am. What's left? Who needs to get qualified? Do I need to be PB qualified? Do I need to be POB qualified? Those planning forms map it out for us. Not only for us, but do I have one of those forms for those key people on my team who really want to build and grow? And then, and we're going to go over this, the SMART goal tracker. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. I'm going to show you versus talk about it right now. And then lastly, as we were kind of talking about, is personal development. Am I becoming in 2022 year end, have I advanced and developed myself from over where I was in 2021? You know, the beautiful thing is we don't have a boss. Nobody's breathing down our backs. But the bad thing is we don't have a boss or anyone breathing down our backs. It's up to us. So how are you doing? And if we don't consciously make an effort to say on a monthly basis, I'm going to look back and say, what events did I go to? Did I go to Juice Plus Live? Did I go to the advanced training? Did I Did I get online and watch this training or that training? Did I get on, we have the not Team Extreme, but the recordings Facebook page with hundreds of things that we could listen to develop and build our verbiage. We've got the on boards, we have all the brand new NMD recordings. How many of us have gotten on and listened to those? So how am I doing? And maybe kind of when we go back to that weekly check-in, that personal planning, make sure we're planning for our own development. All right, so as we look at moving into the next 6 months, we look at January through June, I'm going to challenge all of us, and we'll put this on Voxer and on Facebook, to do what Wendy Campbell, who is, to my knowledge, still one of the fastest growing lines, if not the fastest growing line in our company. She used to call it the Royal Crown, basically where your goal, and I can say, I don't always hit this, but if I focus on it, and especially when I have this printed out, the goal is 5 new customers a month, and 1 new partner. And then what you're doing is if you see here, you bring on a new partner a month, and you help last month's partner get to advance to the first level. See, look at this. This is old. I've got to change those. Those are the old, what I want to say, positions. So this is Partner Plus. For those of you who are new, I'll go back and correct these. But am I advancing these partners along? As if we bring someone on, we want to help them be successful to the point that they want to be successful. And so what this SMART goal is specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and it's timely. And so what we want to do is say, am I getting on to the online events? Am I doing home events? Am I inviting people to the shred? And this is just a great way for us to track our progress from 1 month to the next. All right, I'm going to stop for a minute, and we're going to take a few minutes to chat and just see, and I'm going to update this. We'll post it on Team Extreme. We'll post it on Voxer. And this will be our way to literally track our progress in 2023. So let me just kind of be quiet for a couple of minutes and hear from you guys. So if you're thinking about rhythms, systems, and trackers, weekly connections, and monthly reviews, let me hear from you guys. Let me hear what you're doing well and what areas you're like, you know what? I need some help in. I need either point me in the direction or help me figure out, based on who I am and who my personality is, here's what I need. Any thoughts or comments? Let me hear from y'all.
Well, one thing our team has been doing, thanks to a new partner I just brought on, my daughter-in-law, she's helping us stay on track with events, but thanks to Elaine and to Caitlin, we have been rocking out the events like crazy. And I think it's just like, instead of thinking, oh, this is a busy time, it is amazing. I brought on my daughter-in-law, so Elaine and I did a friends and family Zoom for her. And then she brought on a partner and immediately turned around, and we scheduled one for that new partner. And then Caitlin had a partner who had been a partner for a while, but wanted to get going and actually do something with this. So we did a friends and family Zoom for her. She brought on a couple of customers that had really large orders. So we said, hey, let's talk to them about being a partner. They're already halfway to Partner Plus. So that girl came on, and tomorrow night, Caitlin and I are doing a friends and family Zoom for that new person. And we're just like, why stop? We could do these in our sleep. So what's 30 minutes? And so what I have found is bring on a new person, kick them off immediately, and just keep the ball rolling. So there's a lot of things I need to be doing better, but feel like right now the event, and we've already planned a live event. My daughter-in-law's already meeting with her new partner and texted me this morning, hey, can you do January 4th or January 9th for a live event? So instead of thinking, well, let's get together after Christmas and figure it out, it's like, let's get it on the books because it's getting busy. And if we don't have it scheduled, life is going to pass us by.
So what I'm hearing
So,
is under that weekly check-ins, you guys are checking in consistently, getting events on the books. Kudos to you, Allison. And your team is exploding because of it. So that's awesome. Love it. Who else? Thank you for sharing that. Who else? All right, there's one of me and a whole bunch of y'all, so I'm waiting for someone to share.
Well, I have a question. What exactly is, and I should know this, it's probably embarrassing to even ask, but what is a friend and family Zoom? Is that different than just welcome to Juice Plus, and this is a little bit about the products and a little about how the business works?
yeah,
I
it's just a way to kickstart a new partner. So, a lot of times they don't know where to begin. Like, okay, I believe in the product, I want to share it, but I don't know what to do. So we do the Inspiring Healthy Living event that's already a beautiful PowerPoint right on the freedomrevolution.com under trainings tab, and then scroll down to the drop down where for events and presentations. So it's already set up. The slides are beautiful. And then we just say, hey, invite your friends and family to this. And that way it sets them up for success to hit Partner Plus and move on to QSC. So they can invite out of town people, obviously, since it's a Zoom. And my daughter-in-law started with the company. Like, what I was so impressed with is she said, sharing with people on why she partnered with our company made it so much easier to share about the products. And I had never thought about that. I thought that was amazing verbiage, but she would just say, I'm so excited that I found a company who's committed to whole food nutrition, and I've partnered with them. And then she would just invite him to hop on and learn more about our free resources and our nutritional products. And I was like, that is great verbiage. And so as she invites people and they place orders, we're sharing about being a partner with them. And then if they're interested, we immediately schedule a Zoom for them. So I'm like zoomed out, but it's working. And same on Caitlin's team as well.
Thanks, Allison. Okay, back to Sandy Thompson. Were you going to share something? All right, back to rhythms, systems, trackers, weekly check-ins, and monthly reviews. What areas you feel like, Sandy?
First of all, Allison, congratulations and kudos. And I've heard lots of good things about you and your team. So whatever you're doing is working, and keep it up. And so I think that that's where I am. You mentioned the SMART goals earlier. And I remember as a teacher, we had to have SMART goals. By the end of the year, we had to go back and did we reach those goals? That's always been difficult for me, but I'm a work in progress still. I also, something clicked with, you work with the workers, those people that are answering you back, are interested and come to your events. Those are the people that you want to work with. And also the, we're standing in line, and we as teachers, we do everything in lines. You line up girls and boy lines, and you go to the bathroom in girls and boy lines. And so, the thing is, don't get out of line. You get out in line is when you miss out. And so on the opposite end of that, not only you work with those people that are in your line. So your daily method of operation, your contact list. And we talked in the leadership huddle that, we don't get any results, nothing, dead air. I've reached out to one person by email and one person by text and nothing. And so I'm trying to not let that stop me, but keep going down the line. What else needs to be done? And then the other thing too that I think is really remarkable, as we're talking about remarkable, is the events. We have to keep going. We have to keep reaching the people. And I am so thankful for my Stacia and Brenda and Lindsay. And we have been diligent. We've been diligent every month to do something at Stacia's. I'm calling it the event center because that's the way I feel it is. And we have 2 this week. And yes, we know it's busy and it's a busy time, but we're still inviting. And those people that show up, we're there to give 100%. So I think the key is to keep going. And yes, we do get discouraged, but don't step out of line. And if someone does step out of your line, keep going to the next person in back of you. And the SMART goals, and I need help in tracking. I'm not gonna lie. That is probably my downfall, one of the many. But anyway, Allison sparked kind of all of that. And so encouragement, we all need to be encouraged because it's not always easy.
No. Nadia. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you for sharing. Nadia, did you have?
Hi. Yeah, so I'm a hot mess also when it comes to systems and trackers. But I mentioned last week that I'm working on this and using this month to really get that in tip-top shape. So I'm not going to end the year strong, but I think I'm setting myself up for 2023, which at this point is more important to me. I love this company with the opportunities of the events because they are so much fun. And, you know, just doing it for a couple of months, I'm already seeing how well that's working. So I can definitely second that, what Allison has said. And I think I'll also include an online event of sorts to just bolster my invitable activities. The other thing that I'm doing, which is very difficult for me, I'm not lying because I feel like a fraud, is I'm really waxing on my greater vision, what I'm planning on doing with this and why this is so important. And Allison touched on that as well, starting with the why, and not really thinking about, ooh, am I gonna, you know, get a customer out of this conversation, but just sharing with them what vision I have around my business. And I've done this now a couple of times, which is then very encouraging with the feedback. And I did it yesterday, and you know, these 3 women, they were like kind of like glued to my lips. And I inspired somebody so much that he is now opening his doors to his network. And tomorrow I'm having a pre-talk with somebody who has a radio show. So I may be able to land a gig with him in the Tampa Bay area. I mean, that would be super huge. And he's also very involved in the community. And so, you know, I'm very nervous about it, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to fake it till I make it.
You said several things, Nadia, that really rang true for me. And that is kind of, we're talking about what happens when you reach out, you hear nothing, or you have an event, no one shows up. It's never a waste of time. And I remember, I think it was my first event that I did myself. And it was going to be a neighborhood. I invited everyone in my neighborhood. I made this nice flyer. I was pushing my girls around in their buggies, putting the flyers out to everyone, and wrote a little note on the people who I knew. And nobody showed up. And I remember thinking, dang, that was a lot of work and nothing. And then I remembered, and I love, you hear me talk about Harriet Salzer talking about going all the way from, let's see, Atlanta to Hattiesburg, Mississippi to do an event. And she'd rented a hotel room and no one showed up. And I remember her telling that story of coming all the way back to Atlanta, thinking, you know, how am I going to respond to this? She said she got on the phone and she called everyone she invited and said, you missed a fabulous event, because her mom and dad did show up. So she did the whole event for her mom and dad. It just said, you missed an incredible event. I'm going back down in 2 weeks. I sure hope you can be there this time. And I guess like 2 weeks or a month later, went back and did it again to a full audience. And I remembered that story thinking, okay, got on the phone. I called everyone who I'd invited, or if I didn't have their phone number, I literally wrote them a note and put it in their mailbox. And I got 7 customers from that event that nobody showed up from. So it's never a waste. We got to keep going back to activity will produce results some way, somehow, if we don't quit, if we continue to push through, follow up, and not allow it to hold us back. We'll figure it out. If at a minimum, we'll figure out what to do different next time. You know, it will always benefit us. So, you know, I think as we got 3 more minutes and then we'll wrap up. But, you know, if like, you know, take the next 4 weeks, we'll start back up. I think it's January 9th will be our next, we'll get back on track with our coaching track and leadership huddle. But take these 4 weeks and maybe I'll create some kind of a little bit of a study guide to help you make sure you've got, I loved what you said, Nadia. You know, maybe you're not finishing out as strong as what you wanted, but what you're doing now is planning strong for 2023. Let's get these areas kind of shored up. If you're like, I really don't know what to do when it comes to tracking or you know, or that monthly review, then let's talk to your upline. Let's make sure you've got a system, you've got a rhythm, you know how to track, you know how to review your prior month so that we all go into 2023 running and we can, and not worried about the outcome. We're focused on the activity and we will be successful if we're consistent with the activity. Okay, 2 minutes. I'm sorry, I just chewed up a minute. Who else? Any thoughts? I'm doing good here, or I need some help here. Let me hear from anybody else who wants to kind of share. Does this mean everybody's in good shape? Come on.
Elaine, I'll share.
Thanks, Ann.
Yeah, so it's something that's been bugging me, and I think you and I have talked about it and being transparent, is that I forget the name of the system, but I really want to get that system.
Project Broadcast.
Thank you, Project Broadcast, because I just feel like pushing a button is where it's at instead of trying to hunt and peck and send it to all of my contacts. And I could certainly use it for my coaching business as well. So I think that that's something I really want to. I know it's not a huge investment. I think you told me how much it costs, but that's something that I definitely want to start off with in January, because I just think it's going to make such a big difference.
I love it. So Ann's pinpointed her area that she feels where she can get the most bang for a buck to focus on. You know, Project Broadcast is an easy way. You guys get text messages from Linda and Brenda and I telling you about these calls. It's a quick way to connect with a lot of people. So she's honed in on an area that Ann has a lot of customers. So that Project Broadcast does make sense for you. What's another area that, just going through these last 2 weeks, Allison talked about just continuing to hammer out those events. That's been beneficial, would benefit us all. Who else? What other area that, hearing all this, you're like, here's where I'm honing in on?
Well, I'm just going to say one plug for Project Broadcast. That's my main tool. I'd be lost without it, because so many of my young customers will not pick that phone up, but they will respond in Project Broadcast. And what I like about it, rather than a text, I have a running record forever of every text and my answer and my questions to them. It's not going to go away. So it's like, I would be lost without it. Customers, and, you know, for way back when I started, I can go back now, are they consistently getting Juice Plus? And I go back up there and check it. Or what did they say about the omegas? I think they said they were interested. So it helps my mind because they have a lot of customers to go back and remember without the way I used to do, write everything down, you know. And this is like, to me, it's a lifeline to them.
Love it. I love it. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more, Linda. Who else? What other area of focus here in these areas to develop and grow us all? What area sticks out to you that you want to really kind of hone in on? Erin, you look like you're thinking hard.
I was just thinking about that. I'd really like to also hone in on my customers that have just had one-time orders or canceled, and just circle back around and say, hey, Merry Christmas. Love you. And know right now we're really dealing with, you know, lots of people are getting sick, and this is a great way to boost your body up. So love to be a part of that.
Your heart's kind of where mine is on canceled customers. And that is one thing that I want to create a newsletter with, that when we get a canceled customer, have a newsletter already developed that immediately we can send to them. So no, that's kind of on my top of my list too, because that's not a cold contact. That's a warm contact that easily could be hot again. So I agree. I like that. Who else? Ideas, thoughts?
Well, I've always loved a theme, whether I was teaching, whatever I do. And so I'm just excited. This time of year gets me excited for the beginning of the year. We're going to start with a shred, because for, you know, honestly, after doing it, you know, for it's been almost 8 years now, I was really getting burned out, but I'm excited to get to do it again. And I think it's you know, as you're approaching the new year, after the season of sugar, everybody's going to be focused on their health, whether they have money or not. And I'm really thrilled, as I'm sure many of you know now, that they're even offering a special from corporate for the shred, where you can get a bag of shakes for that. And I think I think it just kind of reinvigorates my impact, you know, our impact, that, you know, this is what I'm working on personally, and I think everybody else is too. And again, for us, events is what makes a difference. And so you're welcome to join the, you know, our shred for January. And I've already got a bunch of people that are, you know, that have not, even some canceled customers that are like, I can already tell I'm going to need this. So.
And we're looking at doing a pre-shred event where you can invite people to an online event on December. Who was working with me? Was it Allison? Is it the 27th? Was that the Thursday that last week?
I think it's the 29th, December 29th.
It's that Thursday, December 29th, about where we'll do an event, Allison sent me a great video I hadn't seen on the shred. So we'll probably play a video. Stacia Parker has done phenomenal shred. So we're going to see if I don't know, Brenda, if you've talked to her yet.
We're talking tonight. Like, we're doing, like I said, like Sandy said, we're doing 2 Christmas events, one with appetizers from the shred tonight and one with the meal on Wednesday.
Okay.
And she's amazing. She's done it consistently. She even has people that she takes, the new shred people, meets them at the grocery store, shows them what to buy, how to buy. She measures them and weighs them if they want, which they do, and follows up with them. It's been transformational for her.
Wow.
And for all of us. Yeah. So it's exciting.
So
She's gonna
hopefully she's going to share about her results and just her experience with shred. So I think if we want to have a phenomenal January, getting people, one of the things I think I want to do is Juice Plus. If you guys were on that leadership call, they're allowing people to buy one bag of complete with like their Juice Plus, so that they could do the shred and only do one bag of complete. What I'm going to do is anybody who joins the shred and is on either a trio or a quad, once they buy it, I'm gonna give them money back and become part of the shred. I'm gonna give money back for that bag of complete as a gift back to them, in hopes to really get people want to join the shred in January.
Elaine, is that going to be forevermore that they offer a 1 pouch order, or is that just a limited time period?
I think they're just giving it a test run, to be honest. It kind of sounds like it, but it sounds like something that they, I think, want to do going forward. I think they're going to see how it works out, but it sounds like it's something they want to do.
Is that in the newsletter, that offer, or where do I find it? It's
No,
just
just gonna ask the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been posted on the hub yet or not, but it was one of the things discussed on the leadership call on last Thursday. So
And it actually starts December 15th, they said, is when you're gonna be able to order that. And it's just something so they can do it during the shred without the obligation of a 4-month thing. But it's also gonna be at a reduced price, so it won't affect when they do order afterwards.
And I do think it is on the hub.
okay, good. Good. All right, guys, we will wrap it up, but y'all, I just appreciate each one of you, and I look forward to rolling into 2023, raring to go. I think it's going to be an awesome year, and we'll continue to kind of, what I want to do is put a checklist together so that we can really hit the ground running, making sure that we have a remarkable 2023. So thanks everyone for being on the call and for your faithfulness to these calls week in and week out. And hope y'all have a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And we will get back on track with these come January 9th. Thanks.